beautiful and wonderful minister of the day and an assistant and all of that good stuff. So today we have the our minister of healing, and then her assistant will be Reverend Nancy, and then we have our good music man over there is Ed, and our song leader over there is Reverend Glenn, and the gown leader is Reverend Jack, and enjoy.
Good morning, everybody, on this wonderful Mother's Day. Well, first, I want to thank Gary Addick for the beautiful flowers in memory of his mother, who passed away last year. The white flowers, they are for the mothers, for our mothers in spirit. And the pink flowers are for our mothers alive. Well, I have a special invocation today for you. The hymn first, I'm sorry. Thank you. We sing the hymn number 151 of the Brown Book. The invocation is very special because it is from my son. I'm a mother too. And my son, he was not always in the light. Unfortunately, he had to learn in a hard way to see the light. He was an alcoholic, an addict, and they're not always nice to mothers when they are in the darkness. When he crawled out of his darkness, he gave me a little booklet, and it is called For a Very Special Mother. And I took by praying, I took 3 expressions out of it. The first one is, on my side, it is so wonderful that you are happy when I have luck or success. I appreciate you that you still think I'm wonderful, even I felt flat on my face. The second one is a safety heaven. When I was little and scared, you always turned on the light and showed me the trustworthy things around me. After that, you turned off the light and stayed with me in the darkness till I felt comfortable and did understand that nothing changed. The last expression is free to be myself. Good mothers give their children the paint and brushes to let them make their own drawing. They say, here's the world, honey. Choose your own colors, new patterns, and make your life. Now we sing the Lord's Prayer. The spiritual reading today is 1 John 2, 1-6, and John 19, 25-27. 1 John 2, 1-6 is, on the third day, there was a marriage feast in Cana, at the city of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. And Jesus and his disciples were also invited to the marriage feast. And when the wine ran low, his mother said to Jesus, "They have no wine." Jesus said to her, "What is it to me and to you, woman? My turn has not yet come." His mother said to the helpers, "Whatever he tells you, do it." And there were 6 stone jars placed there for the purification of the Jews, which could hold several gallons each. John 19, 25-27. Now they were standing by the cross of Jesus, his mother, and his mother, sister, and Mary of Cleopas, and Mary of Magdala. When Jesus saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing, he said to his mother, "Woman, behold your son." Then he said to the disciple, "Behold your mother." And from that very hour, the disciple took her with him. Now we have a solo from Glenn Lehman, A Mother's Prayer. Thank you, Glenn. That was beautiful. May I give the word to Reverend Nancy Althouse. Her message will be a tribute to all mothers.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Mother's Day. And also to the grandmothers, because you know, having a child is the greatest. But having a grandchild, wow, do we do differently by our grandchildren? You know, they can, well, we're not going to tell, no, because they can do no wrong in grandma's eyes. A mother's love is a force to be reckoned with. With Jewish mothers have chutzpah. Chutzpah is strength beyond all measures, especially with their sons. You know, my son the doctor, my son the lawyer. In John 2, 1-6, now Jesus the Christ did not want to do this miracle. because he said, my time has not yet come. However, he did as his mother asked, even though his time had not yet come. Perhaps because of the commandment by Moses and God, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Another example of chutzpah with the Jewish mother. The mother of James and John. Now she went to Jesus and she started a little commotion here because she said, I want my sons to sit in the right hand of God. Now that's chutzpah. And Jesus said, that is not for me to decide. That is for the Father to decide. And then the other apostles, as we all know, it's a common thing, even in Christianity, it was amongst the disciples, because they talked together and they said, what nerve did she have coming to ask Jesus to sit on the Father's right hand? Then they all got a little jealous, you know. So when we read the Bible, let's read it with the understanding that we have today. There was any difference amongst the apostles. They had their problems. But he said to the boys, he said, can you drink of the cup that I must drink of? In Aramaic, the word cup means the disappointments, the despair, the hurts. That's what that means. And of course they said, oh sure, I can do that. As we read in the scriptures, they didn't all, they sort of ran away at the crucifixion. But that's a common thing. Wouldn't we be shaking in our sandals if we saw our leader being horribly crucified? Now, a mother's prayer that Reverend Glenn just sang was written by our own Bud Bowen, who used to play our piano here. And he exemplified the things that Betty Eady said. Now, Betty Eady was our keynote speaker. And there was a book called Embraced by the Light. Does anybody remember that? And she spoke about it. And she had a near-death experience when she gave birth. And the spirit that was next to her, she asked these questions. Why are there little lights? And why are there big lights? And the spirit said, the little lights are little children's prayers. And the big lights are the prayers of all the mothers. She was told that these little lights, and don't we sing, this little light of mine, to the kids, we teach them that. And you know, children are just so wonderful, because when a child gives his mom a gift on Mother's Day, it may be written all crooked. It may be a pink Kleenex that used to be a flower. But what do we do, mothers? Do we save them? Mm-hmm. There's nothing more special than a little child with his eyes full of wonder, and he just wants to be so proud to give his mom a gift. Sometimes they make it in school and make stick kids, you know, sticks, like I still do. But they give from their heart. They give with love. They don't care if it's not perfect. To them, in their eyes, that is perfect to their mother, who they love. and the child gives his best with love and with pride. Remember the eyes when our child used to come to us and say, "Look, I made this for you." Do you not see the love and the pride in that little gift they give you? They're very proud. My own mother played in this church for many, many years, and she said, "My way of praying is playing the piano." That was her prayer to God every Sunday. And our mothers did the best with what they had and with what they knew. Okay, we can remember now the mistakes they made, but don't we make some too? I find myself doing the same things as my grandmother and mother did as I'm getting older. I thought, oh my goodness. Did you ever have an experience like that? Were you doing the same as your mom did, or saying the same expressions? And it is, I think there they are. I'm saying the things I used to think were terrible. And now I'm saying it as a mature woman, which I hope I am. Many women who do not give physical birth, you don't have to give physical birth to be a mother, to have that love, to have that compassion, to have that bonding. Many women have nourished children as their own without giving the physical birth, and that's wonderful love. Now we did have boundaries when we were children, more than they do now. How many parents said you have to be home when the street lights go on in the summertime? There was no bargaining with mom or dad. No, you did it. And if you didn't do it, you knew the consequences. Now, mothers of boys and girls have a dress code problem today. I wonder if you've ever noticed it. Underwear hanging out of their pants, and scraping the ground. And so when they say to us, "But Mom, everybody does it. I don't want to be different." And then mother will say, "Not my son." Now maybe they get changed around later at school, but. And then girls with the low-cut fronts and the micro mini skirts, Mom will say, "You're not leaving this house dressed like that." "But Mom, everybody does it." "Not my daughter." We have to have some boundaries. We can't always be a friend. When we get older, we can be a friend to our children when they're matured. But you have to be a mother and say, "This is not acceptable." And so, don't we have children that are gifted today? What do we call them? They're purple ray kids or something? Indigo. No, yeah. When I taught Sunday school, I had some in that class. And they were wonderful. And they scared me at times because they knew that they knew that they knew. And they'd come out with such remarkable things, like in meditation. Children can meditate very well because they don't have this junk in their heads that we are taught. They don't have that yet. So they'd sit and they'd meditate, and I'd say, "Now, how do you do it? You have to hold your hands up. You have to get your mind cleared." I said, "What do you do with your feet?" "You have to put them on the ground." And they would come up with some wonderful things. I'd say, "What did you see?" "I saw beautiful flowers and the beautiful colors." I think, they're on the way. They're on the way. When the minister's manual was written quite a while time ago, we had personal prayer in there that we never spoke about. The personal prayer was for a child that was born with 3 pounds, 7 ounces. And every day, the mother and father prayed this prayer. And that was why we included it in the manual. Thank you, Father, Mother God, for this child that we call ours. She is not our possession, and remember this, but our sacred charge. Help us to share, and this part I like, help us to share our child with life and not to clutch at it for our own sake. Let us always remember that for love, we must give love. That for respect, we must give respect. And for understanding, we must give understanding. We have to give these children an example to follow. And I feel sorry for some children today because they don't have an example. They have come from broken homes. Help us to make this world a better place for all children and our own. God hears our prayers. God will never stop hearing our prayers. Even when we think it's to no avail, he hears our prayers. And I want to inject this time a woman who I admire after I read her autobiography of a businesswoman. Now, sometimes I felt bad that I had to work every day. It makes you feel, well, you know, girls, how you feel when you have to say goodbye. But there was a woman in the business world that was so inspirational, and she was so devoted as a mother and a wife. Her name was Margaret Woodman, who started Pepperidge Farms. Now, she had to have a job because her husband got very sick, and she had a child with asthma. And I believe this lady was a lady of prayer. She started in 1937 with the reason for baking bread was to bake a loaf of bread without chemicals. Because her son was asthmatic, and the doctor said, try to get something without chemicals that will help him. Well, her son was named Mark, and what is most inspirational of all was her selfless act of motherly devotion to her son, Mark, of devotion to her husband, who was taken ill, and she combined the role of motherhood and business with wonderful success, as we know today. Her 6 loaves of bread became 600 and then 6,000. We all heard Pepperidge Farms. And that really got to me when I read that, because I understood what she had to do. And out of her love, her selfless love, because a mother's love is selfless. And out of that love came a beautiful, thriving company, which we all know. And yes, they do have good bread. And I was thinking about, as I was preparing, about a task. To love someone more dearly every day, and to help a wandering child to find its way, to ponder on some noble thought and pray. This crowns our task as mothers. A mother holds her children's hands for just a little while, but she holds their hearts forever, no matter how old they get. You're still her little girl. You're still her little boy. And everyone knows that. How many times as our children grow and grow, do we think of the times we took their hands? And it felt so good in there, didn't it? A little hand in ours. And then they grow up, and we got to do that. We got to help push them out of the nest, like the birds do. You know, we've taught them what we can. We've taught them their character. We've tried to teach them all that we knew. And now it's their time to step out, to make this world a better place for all children and themselves. God bless you.